insights and things come up here. All right. So anyone has any questions would like to share? Please unmute and ask, or you could put it on the chat, or you could, if you want to ask anonymously, you could send it on the chat to Dr. Jamila. You could send it to me, and I can ask on behalf of you. Yeah. So please go ahead. This is your time for questions, for doubts, for comments, any query. Yeah, please go ahead. Anyone?
What is the role of prayer with a grieving person? Yeah, thanks for that. I think there is definitely a role of prayer there. So the point is that we are going to be their friend, right? So we do with them whatever we need to do with them in a normal way. So if they were happy to pray with you earlier, then I'm sure they would be happy to pray with you even after the death of a person. So you can ask them, would you like me to pray with you? I think we should ask them, though, permission to pray. If they are happy with us praying with them, by all means, we can pray with them. And we can just, sort of, again, when we pray, we should choose our words carefully. Our words should not be, again, our words should not be pushing any point of view here, that they should be grieving in this particular way, or they should quickly accept, whatever the Lord has done, and, all that sort of thing. We should be very careful with our words when we pray. Probably we should, in the acute phase, we need to just pray for that God would be close to them or something like that. Okay, rather than praying that they would accept your will, or just be careful in the words that we use. Because often people who have gone through grief do share that they find that some people were very insensitive in the way they approach them about spiritual things. So we need to be careful.
We should not preach in prayer, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Pastor. Yeah, we should not give, you should not be preachy about it. Yeah. When you think giving medication and antidepressants is important, if at all the grief is very prolonged and complicated, okay, or if it has gone into a full phase of depression. So for instance, as I said, see, what is depression? Depression is when there is this pervasive loss of mood. Okay, in grief, it comes in waves, it comes and goes. But in depression, the person is all the time depressed. They are, unhappy. They don't have any interest in life. They may be suicidal. And this is going on for months. And it's not showing any signs of waning. They're not able to work. They're not able to sleep. They're not able to eat. So if that sort of thing is going on, it has probably gone into a phase of depression. And in that case, they would probably need help from a mental health professional.
Overcome personal grief.
Sorry?
What are some of the practical tips to overcome personal grief or
personal? Okay. Yeah. So I said that, no? See, the important thing is to recognize that I put those 6 R's which I thought were quite sensible. So you recognize the grief and you react to it, that, okay, this person has gone. If you want to cry, you cry. If you don't want to cry, it's fine. If you want to rejoice that they are free of their pain or whatever, if that is the emotion that you have, that's fine also. Okay. You don't have to fit into any pattern. You express your emotion the way it is coming to you and recognize that and express it. It's fine. Once you have done that, you may want to relive your memories of that person. So that is very important. So think about that person, share about that person. When I lost my mom, I remember I wrote something down, and that helped me tremendously. So that writing and sharing of my emotions at that time helped me to process my own emotion, and it helped me to come forward. Then just going through their things, sorting out their things, that also relives the memories, and it helps you to figure out, okay, what do I want to keep? What do I want to, give away? What do I want to do with their things? Should I share it with the family? So doing all these practical things also will help you to relive the memories and figure out how to now take the next step, which is the next step would be that how do I now readjust my life so that the patterns which I formed with that person now may not be relevant anymore. And it's okay. I don't need to feel any guilt about that. That yes, that phase of life is over. That person has gone. But now I relive my memories and I celebrate that person's life. But now I need to readjust my life and figure out new patterns, new schedules, new things to do, maybe new relationships. So that these are the things that we need to do. And in all these things, I'm presuming that we're doing it in a spirit of prayer. Okay, obviously we're doing it in a spirit of prayer, and we're doing it prayerfully and joyfully, knowing that God is in control. Right. So I think when you do all these things, you will be able to process your pain, your grief in a better way. Yeah. But again, there is no quick fix. If you find that you're not able to process it, talk to a friend then, or talk to someone who's able to help you. That might help you to process what you're feeling, particularly if the relationship has been complicated. Okay. So for instance, if you had some bad relationship with that person and you were not able to fix it, then you may feel a lot of guilt that, okay, I contributed, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. So there may be something which you need to confess to the Lord, and you need to sort of work through, okay, yourself. You may need the help of a wise spiritual, guide, an older person, a pastor, a counselor, somebody who is able to help you work through these things. That may be what you need to do. So in each case, it would be different. And pray for the wisdom to know how to handle that and move ahead. Okay, there's some other question here. Is having depression related to evil influence, or is it demonic as considered by a majority of Christians? No, I don't think it is related to any evil influence or demonic normally. Okay, normally depression is related to sometimes triggered events which happen around you. That is a mild adjustment disorder sort of depression. Some stress, some problem, some job loss, some problems with people, whatever. All these things can precipitate a milder depression. If it's a longer standing, deeper depression, then as I said, it could be triggered by by a complicated grief. Okay, something that you have lost, perhaps. Deep sources of grief like child sexual abuse or rape, or these things also can precipitate a long-standing depression. Sometimes it's genetic. There will be depression in the family. Okay, so particular types of depression are particularly hereditary, like bipolar and things like that. Those would have a genetic component. So these are some of the causes. Okay.
I think there was a question before that. Grief, they say, is private. So
would you leave them alone sometimes? Yes, thank you, Daisy. Yes, I think that to a large extent, people may not share everything that they are grieving about. So yes, of course, if they want to be left alone, you should leave them alone. We should respect people, give them the privacy that they need. At the same time, be watchful and see whether they need any help. That's why I said, ask questions, but be very gentle. See if the person wants to talk. Sometimes the person would like to talk about the departed person. If they want to talk, then talk about it. Share your memories. Ask them about their memories. If you have some photograph or something which you had, you can always share it. And it always makes people feel nice that, okay, somebody else had a photograph of my loved one and they shared it with me. It gives you a nice sense about the person who has gone. So if the person is willing to do it, they want to share, well and good. If they don't want to, then just be there for them in other ways. Ask if you can help in other ways. Isn't genetic depression a stronghold? I know that some people believe that it is. Okay, so I think that it is a genetic depression, which means that it is caused by, it is not caused by, but it is manifest through the genes. Okay, so genes are physical. It's not a spiritual stronghold. It's a physical thing in your body. It's the chromosomes that you inherit from your parents. So rather than a spiritual stronghold, it is a physical thing. Okay, there's one more question somewhere. Did I miss anything, Abhijit?
No. I think that's fine. Yeah. Any other question, please go ahead and ask, unmute and ask straight away, or put it in the chat, or you can send it direct. Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead, Koshy.
Yeah. In counseling, I understand that unless the person asks for the counseling, you should not give. So I find sometimes very difficult because some people we know that they really need our support, but if this principle we have to follow, that we cannot advise, we cannot not advise, but cannot even say word of counsel in certain situations. How do you how do you respond to that?
Yeah. See, I would think that it would work best if the person realizes their own need for counseling and comes. So to that extent, I agree with you. But sometimes if we notice that they are having a problem, it may be possible for us to just gently say that I noticed that you've been struggling with this particular thing.
Right.
Would you like to talk about it? So you're just putting it to them.
Right. Right.
So, but it has to be expressed in a very non-judgmental and a very non-threatening way. So,
Right.
I noticed that you have a problem. I have noticed that maybe you have a problem with smoking or drinking or something like that. It's okay. I know that many people have, and I know that it's a social custom as well. But do you want to talk about it? If you want to talk about it, perhaps I could get you in touch with the right person or something like that.
Yeah, I am facing a real situation, and maybe it's a different situation. Like a family I'm counseling, the man is alcoholic, and the wife doesn't want to stay, but the mother of the boy, who is a pastor's wife, she says that you must, as a pastor, you must help this couple. I tell them, unless they ask, I cannot force myself. They must be open. I went once, but then they are not open. At least the boy is not open. So
yeah, no, you're completely right, Pastor. Where alcoholism is concerned, a major problem is denial and minimization of the problem. So we cannot force. You cannot force them because they are denying the problem. But then the person who may be open to it is actually the wife. So if you talk to the wife and tell her that, look, this is getting difficult for you, we can see that. Perhaps you need to tell him that, look, unless you go and get yourself treated, I'm not going to stay with you unless, she could sort of put it like that I may even leave you if you continue to drink and beat me up like this. There's often violence, alongside.
Yeah.
So if she takes a strong stand and says that you have to go for treatment of your problem because I can't live with you like this, then she has a right to say that to him, because she has a right to say that. Whereas you cannot force him into it. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned earlier about how after your loved one passed away, you wrote something that helped you.
Yeah.
So would you say that art has a kind of a healing effect, or it helps people to release
art?
Writing of
any of those things can help. So you have to use whatever means you want. So art or music. Sometimes people write songs. So there are a lot of songs. For instance, a lot of these music writers, singers, a lot of them write songs which are very full of angst, And where does the angst come from? Often it is a breakup, it is a loss, it is a grief. These are all real things. And they often process their feelings by writing a song about it. So it's fine. I mean, if that's the way you want to do it, that's all right. And when you have gone through it, and then maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, you may find that helped you and you have come out of it because of the processing that you were able to do. So use anything that helps you, writing, music, art, whatever.
Especially if people are bottled up, or there are children who don't know that it can help. Probably give them some.
Yeah, children's grief is very can be very difficult because they're not able to express it very easily. Okay, but it can also be handled well because they are also resilient. Okay, so they're also able to come out of it if there's a lot of love and support, right? But it's important for us to also be able to talk to children and help them to process what has happened, if they have lost a parent or anything like that. And one example which is very, very public right now and in our face on YouTube all the time is Prince Harry and all the stuff that he went through when his mom died, and which was not really addressed very well by anybody. So he ended up with a lot of mixed up and very confused feelings.
Any other questions? Please keep asking as we have some time before we close. Yeah. In this time of grief or setback, when the grief is unsettled, people will often ask, those who are grieving will often ask questions to the pastor or to the people around as to what we could have done. Maybe I could have done that. And sometimes you don't know what to say. So what do you do? That they are looking for some kind of a validation or answers. How do you handle that?
Yeah, that's actually if you were to look at the stages of grieving, I told you that along with the anger, that second stage is anger and bargaining. It's a sort of stage where you question. So you're saying who was to blame? Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe they should have done this. They should have done that. Oh, they didn't do this. They are to blame. Or I didn't do this. I'm to blame. So these questions are very much a part of the initial phase of grief. Okay. So they don't really need any great answer. What you need to do probably is listen. And rather than trying to answer, just listen and say that, yeah, I can see that you're very upset about it. Just say something like that. And after some time, after they have asked a lot of questions, you could probably just gently say that, there's no need to blame yourself. It's just something like that. So again, no quick fixes. Allow them to say it because this is the process they have to go through. We can't cut it short by saying that, no, don't think like that. That's not going to help. Allow them to say it, allow them to set the pace. Don't react emotionally to anything. You don't have to validate and answer all the questions. Okay. It's more important to listen and understand the emotion that they're going through. The emotion is what? They are wondering whether they did enough. They're wondering whether they were to blame. Okay. They are wondering whether God is to blame. So that is the emotion. So just respond to that emotion that, yeah, I can see that you're really upset. And there's no real answer. You can just say that, yeah, I know you're thinking. That's all that you need to say. Actually.
Acknowledge that.
Yeah, acknowledge that emotion.
Right. Yeah, any question? Please unmute and ask or put it on the chat. Friends. It's good if you ask, because don't hesitate, because it will always be a question somebody else is wanting to ask or somebody else wants to know but had not thought about it before. So please feel free. The questions and your comments will also help enrich this conversation tonight. Yeah, I personally know some youngsters whose faith has taken a beating because of the loss of their parent, terrible sickness upon them, and to see them fade away every day. And because of this, I'm not sure if probably exist or gone away. And so, how do you deal with that in a church of which is set up? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, that is a difficult thing. But as I said, no, anger with God is often a symptom of your grief. No, you have to blame somebody. So anger with God is very common.
Yeah.
And it's not again, it's not something that we need to argue with them about or try to argue them out of. If they ask you questions, you can answer. But otherwise, I think if you were to consistently just tell them that, look, I understand you're angry, I understand you're sad, Just tell them that you are there. Just show them that you care. Keep on meeting them.
Correct.
Don't respond with anger or justification that God took them because of this and that. No, those answers are trite. They don't make any sense.
They don't need those answers.
Yeah, they don't need those answers. So if you are just loving to them, hold on to them, continue to be there for them, then and pray for them quietly yourself, then I think that at some point they will come back to their parents and and their family faith.
Right.
We can just trust that that will happen. There's no quick fix again. Okay.
Yeah. Sherry, go ahead.
I have a friend whose father passed away with a heart attack.
Okay.
And that was about 6 months ago. He hasn't been able to let it out in the sense of crying or anything, but he has turned very skeptical of the healthcare system. So much so that he says these surgeries are unnecessary, and he goes on I thought he goes on a tangent like that. So since I found that illogical, where is the point that I should step in to correct that view, or continue to agree with him, and how long do I play along?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and you can see here again. No, see, that's what when you listen to the experiences of people, you see that a lot of the things which I said, are just the way it happens, right? So he's blaming the healthcare systems. There's anger at the healthcare system, so he's putting the blame there. And then what is the other thing you said? What is the other thing you said? 6 months down the line, he's become very skeptical. No? Yeah. So that's what you said, right?
Yeah, he's skeptical, and he now shares these WhatsApp videos which says that the healthcare system is all broken. We don't need any surgeries and all that. Yeah, so
right. So I think the only thing to do is you see, if you have a good solid relationship with him, then at some point you could probably tell him very gently that, "Arey yaar, bus, are you just overdoing it a little bit?" Or you could just share an experience which you had where somebody was saved by surgery. Okay, I mean, not in a very obvious way. You don't want to put him down. This is his grieving process. You understand? This is part of his grieving.
Yeah.
So we need to allow him that space to say sometimes unreasonable things as well. But then in the process of your talking, you could just probably share something about very naturally, if it happens, share something about somebody who was helped by some surgery or whatever, and take it from there. And you can just tell him that, yeah, I understand that you're angry. You can just see, that's the point, no? The point is to acknowledge that emotion, that I can understand that you're angry and you feel the healthcare system has let down your parents. So you're putting that there, that is what is the issue. So whether it's right to generalize to all the healthcare system, he himself will decide after a little bit. When he comes out of it, he will realize, I mean, it's not possible that he will shun the healthcare system forever, no? That's not possible. At some point or the other, he's going to go back to the healthcare system, right? So there's no need to justify and to argue with him about it. But maybe you can just share something of your own experience and acknowledge his emotion and allow him to work through it on his own. Okay?
Question here. Comment, please go ahead.
no, I'm done. Thank you.
Trying to understand some people, and I was speaking to somebody who's a senior in ministry, and he said that grief that is not resolved and on bitter and critical about anything and everything.
Sorry,
So,
say that again.
Grief that is not resolved,
yeah,
and turn people bitter, critical, cynical, skeptical about everything.
That is true. That is true. So
Okay.
you're kind of stuck at that stage of your life where you are angry or skeptical about everything. That is completely true. That's one form of complicated grief. Okay. So yeah, that needs to be helped at some level. So if they are willing to go to talk to someone, you can ask them, why don't you just meet somebody, talk it through? At some point, you can always say that.
I got a question on the my friend and colleague passed away on Friday. I did not inquire too much about her medical condition post-COVID, thinking she will recover. I feel guilty. I overlooked her sickness. How do I overcome this mistake that this person has lost a colleague and a friend who had lung infection post-COVID? So,
yeah. Well, I'm sure you didn't do it on purpose. So probably you can take this as a warning, okay, and a learning thing that yeah, sometimes it's good to try and keep in touch with people. It's good to maintain bonds, with people, especially those who have not been well and all that. We can all take this as something to remind us. And particularly, I think with family members, sometimes all of us have some family member with whom our relationship is not very good. And then sometimes if that person falls sick and something happens, then we are tortured by guilt later. So rather than that happening, it's best to sort of take this as a reminder that if our relationships with people are good, then the chances are that we would, have a smoother time of it. We'll have an easier time of it in any way, whether that person has a problem or someone else has a problem, we won't have all these associated guilt feelings. But in this particular case, well, it's not that there was any bad relationship or anything. It's just that you didn't take that illness so seriously. So I don't think you can blame yourself for that. Okay, I don't think you should do that. But take it as a reminder that, okay, I should inquire about people a little more, and I'll try to do that. You may never manage to inquire about everybody, though, no? Because all of us have so many acquaintances who have some sickness or the other, and we're never going to be perfect in this. So that's all right. You have to cut yourself that much slack. All right. And I'm sure you wish that person well. So, you can just trust that God will take care of that person in eternity.
When you serve a person and for an extended period of time, and you are waiting for the grief to settle down, but at the same time, if that person is becoming colder or turning their hearts, you said that they're losing their faith in God and all of that, how do you induce or gently give them opportunities to find spiritual answers to their conflict? What would be a way to do that? Because that could also mean spiritual growth and opportunity for spiritual growth.
Right. I get that. I think the best way probably would be to invite them to a Bible study or something, not specifically aimed at the grief issue.
Okay.
Not specifically aimed at helping them through, but just a normal neighborhood or church Bible study. And we can trust that in the course of the Bible study, things which are important for their faith will come up. And they will be able to deal with that. So just try to integrate them into the life of the church. Again,
are there some books out there that you would recommend on?
One of the best books on grief is actually a thin book on grief by C.S. Lewis called A Grief Observed.
Correct.
That's actually a very, very useful book on grief.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. And Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. Yeah. And anyone else has to ask something, please unmute or raise your hands, put it on the chat. Closing. All right. So I think thank you so much for this wonderful session, Dr. Jamila. Truly, we are grateful that you take time out at the end of the day and are able to share your wisdom and experience to many of our brothers and sisters here. And we are so thankful. And we really pray that this session will help us understand in a better way, richer way, and we can help others also around us as we help ourselves. God bless you, and God bless everyone. Okay, we'll catch up again sometime. Thank you so much.